Welcome back, dear students. This video is for class 10th subject science, chapter number 4, carbon and its compounds, and lecture number 3. So in our first lecture we have done the covalent bonding in carbon, and in second lecture we have done the allotropic forms of carbon, that is diamond, graphite and fullerenes. In this lecture, we will be doing some important topics that come under covalent bonding. And the second topic will be versatile nature of carbon. So let us see the detailed description of the content we are going to study today. So first topic is our covalent bonding, under which we will see the types of bonds, covalency, non-polar and polar covalent compounds, characteristics of covalent bonds and characteristics of covalent compounds. Then our formation of covalent bond. We know that a covalent bond is formed due to mutual sharing of electrons by the combining atoms. These atoms can be of similar element or they can be of different elements also. Here, both the nuclei attract the shared pair of electrons according to their electronegativity, and this nucleus force of attraction keeps the shared pair of electrons together. In this way, we can define covalent bond as the force of attraction between the two combining atoms due to the mutual sharing of electrons between them. So, covalent bond is a force of attraction between two combining atoms due to mutual sharing of electrons. Then we have types of bonds. We have three types of covalent bonds. First, single covalent bond, double covalent bond and triple covalent bond. Although we have seen molecule formations of each type, but that time we were focused on the covalent bonding and not on the type of the bond which is formed, whether it is single covalent bond, double covalent bond or triple covalent bond. So now let us see single covalent bond. So the covalent bond formed due to the sharing of one pair of electron is called single covalent bond. For example, hydrogen molecule formation, where each hydrogen atom is sharing its one electron in the covalent bonding. Hence, one electron of each hydrogen is shared in the pair of the electrons which are coming into covalent bond formation. Then we have double covalent bond. So when the covalent bond is formed due to the sharing of two pairs of electrons between the two atoms, then this bond is termed as double covalent bond or simply double bond. For example, oxygen. So we know that oxygen is having 6 valence electrons in its orbit, and these 6 valence electrons, they are represented by dots and cross marks. So each oxygen atom needs 2 more electrons to complete their octet, and that is why each oxygen atom shares its 2 electrons in the covalent bonding, and hence there is a formation of double bonds. So O2 is formed by the double covalent bonds. Third example is of triple covalent bonds, and that is nitrogen molecule. So we know nitrogen is having 5 valence electrons which are represented here by dots and cross marks. So it needs 3 more electrons to complete its octet or to gain the stability of nearest noble gas configuration. And that is why one nitrogen atom shares its 3 electrons with other 3 electrons of the second atom of nitrogen, and hence there is a formation of 3 covalent bonds. So these are called triple covalent bonds or simply triple bonds. Our next subtopic is covalency. So in earlier classes we have studied about valency of an atom. Here we are talking of covalency of atom. So what is covalency? Covalency of the element is equal to total number of electrons involved in covalent bonding, or it is the number of paired electrons available for covalent bonding. So this is the total number of electrons which are either involved in the covalent bonding or which are available for covalent bonding. For example, we have hydrogen molecule. So hydrogen molecule is formed by the single bond formation, and each hydrogen atom is having 1 electron available for the covalent bonding, or you can say it has shared its 1 electron in covalent bonding. So covalency of hydrogen is 1. Another example we have is water molecule. So water molecule is having single bonds between hydrogen and oxygen, but hydrogen is having a covalency of 1 because each hydrogen atom is having 1 electron available for the covalent bond is 2. Let us have one more example, that is BF3, that is boron trifluoride. Here boron is having a covalency of 3 because it has 3 electrons available for the covalent bonding, whereas fluorine is having 1 electron which is available for covalent bonding. Let us have one more example to make it more clear to you. PCl3, where phosphorus is having covalency 3 and chlorine is having a covalency of 1. So I hope now it is clear that what is the meaning of covalency. The next subtopic is non-polar and polar covalent compounds. So a covalent bond formed between the atoms of same element is called a non-polar covalent bond, and the elements combining together in this kind of bonding will be known as non-polar compounds. Why we are saying same elements? Because every element is having a property which is called electronegativity. Electronegativity is the tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons in a covalent bond. So, when the electronegativity of the atom is same, of both the atoms is same, then they will attract the shared pair of electrons by equal force of attraction. That is why this shared pair of electrons lies exactly midway between the two atoms. For example, hydrogen molecule. So each hydrogen atom is sharing its 1 electron, and this nucleus of the hydrogen atom will attract with both the hydrogen atom nucleus will attract these shared pair of electrons with similar force, and hence this covalent bond will exactly lie the midway between the two atoms. We can have some more examples like hydrogen molecule, oxygen molecule, nitrogen molecule, chlorine molecule, fluorine molecule. So all have non-polar covalent bonds in between them because they are having equal electronegativity because they are from the same element. And the covalent bonds between the atoms of two different elements having different electronegativities is called a polar covalent bond. In a polar covalent bond, the shared pair of electrons lies more towards the atom which is having more electronegativity because the more electronegative atom will have more tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons. For example, we take an example of HCl, hydrochloric acid. So here we have hydrogen atom and chlorine. Hydrogen is comparatively less electronegative. Actually, it is electropositive in nature, hydrogen. And chlorine is having 7 electrons in its valency shell, and that is why it has more tendency to attract the shared pair, or you can say it is more electronegative in nature. And that is why these deltas signs are showing the electronegative nature. So hydrogen is electropositive in nature, whereas chlorine is electronegative in nature. So this bond will now not equally lie between the both the atoms. Now it will be more towards the chlorine. So this direction is telling us that this bond is more towards the chlorine. We can have some more examples like water molecule, ammonia. So all these are having the combination of two different atoms which are from the different elements. So for sure they will be having the difference in electronegativity. So depending upon them, covalent bond will be shifted. Next is characteristics of covalent bond. First characteristic of a covalent bond is that a covalent bond is formed by the mutual sharing of electrons. Second is covalent bond is directional in nature because shared pair of electrons remain localized in a definite space between two atoms. If they are equally electronegative in nature, so they will the bond will lie exactly midway between the two atoms. If they are having a difference in the electronegativity, then the bond will be shifted towards, or it will be more directional towards the element atom which is having more electronegativity. Hence, the covalent bonds are directional in nature. The next is characteristics of covalent compounds. So first characteristic is their physical state. So generally all the covalent compounds are found in gases or liquid state. But the compounds having higher molecular mass are found as solids. So here we have some of the examples of covalent compounds which are solids, liquids and gases. Solids, urea, glucose, naphthalene. Liquids, water, ethanol and benzene. Gases, methane, chlorine, hydrogen, oxygen. So all these, that means covalent compounds are found in all the three states. They can be liquids, gases or solids. Then second characteristic of a covalent compound is their melting and boiling points. Covalent compounds have low melting and low boiling points because intermolecular forces, or you can say cohesive forces, in covalent compounds are weaker than those in the ionic compounds. because there we were having actual and complete transfer of electrons from one atom to another. But here we have a sharing of electrons between them. So this force of attraction is less as compared to ionic bonding. Then third characteristic of covalent compounds is their solubility. So covalent compounds generally dissolve readily in all the organic solvents, but they are less soluble in water. For example, naphthalene, which is an organic compound, dissolves readily in organic solvents like ether, but it is insoluble in water. However, some covalent compounds like urea, glucose, sugar, they are soluble in water. Some of the polar covalent compounds like ammonia and hydrochloric acid, they are also soluble in water. Then the last characteristic of the covalent compounds is conductivity. Covalent compounds do not conduct electricity because they contain neither the ions nor free electrons which are necessary for conduction. So they do not conduct electricity. For example, covalent compounds like glucose, alcohol, carbon tetrachloride, they do not conduct electricity. Now let us see today's homework. So you have 3 questions as homework for today. Question number 1 is, what are the different types of covalent bonds found in the carbon compounds? Briefly explain with examples. Second question is, why covalent compounds have low melting and boiling points? Third, what do you mean by covalency? So, do your homework sincerely. So, I'll be continuing the chapter in the next lecture also, and in the next lecture we will be doing the versatile nature of carbon. So, till then, take care and goodbye.